This arrogant youth really crossed the line. Strutting into the pavilion, he ordered 3 top-tier beauties, but excess breeds ruin. Suddenly, the lady in blue's face warped into a demonic nightmare. She ruthlessly devoured the youth's life force until he foamed at the mouth. This horrific incident struck the spring pavilion, claiming a 5-year-old victim. The one assigned to this brutal case was the badass female detective, 𝒉 Dang. After aggressively interrogating the witnesses, she barked orders at her subordinate to completely seal the perimeter. Not even a fly could escape. She had detected the lingering aura of a foul demonic beast. Suddenly, the victim's nether regions violently convulsed. A bizarre, otherworldly flower bloomed right out of his pants. In another dimension, a modern guy named 𝒉 saw the exact same mystical blossom. They simultaneously touched the petals, dissolving the barrier between worlds. Just as the demoness revealed her monstrous true form to devour everyone, the corpse resurrected. Fate had violently thrust 𝒉's soul into this dead vessel. He woke up surrounded by weirdly dressed ancient people, and a blushing woman was literally grabbing his newly reincarnated little bird. What the hell? Wasn't he just working overtime? While they both froze in pure shock at this ridiculous situation, an overwhelming, bloodthirsty aura violently exploded from behind. The mutated demoness launched a lethal strike straight at 𝒉. 𝒉 Dang was too far away to block it. The horrific truth crashed into our hero. This was no dream. He just transmigrated and was already facing a boss battle without a single buff. He screamed until the annoyed demoness dug her deadly claws into his throat, shutting him up. Suddenly, he realized he was completely naked, and her extremely soft assets were pressed against him. In front of a whole crowd, his little brother actually leveled up and stood at full attention. How humiliating. Even the royal guards gasped in awe at his legendary endurance, praising his unyielding sword in the face of death. Meanwhile, Detective 𝒉 Dang seized the monster's distraction and signaled her busty guard. The subordinate instantly summoned a divine purple artifact, a soul-devouring eye. Raising it high to command the beast's attention, the demoness locked eyes with the glowing relic, instantly trapping her mind in a paralyzing illusion. Her monstrous body froze like stone. The perfect opening had finally arrived. 𝒉 Dang's explosive whip strike shattered the beast's grip, successfully rescuing our naked protagonist. The demonic eye artifact was incredibly overpowered, but terrifyingly, the monster's fingers suddenly twitched. It violently shattered the restriction, unleashing a devastating blast of dark aura. This evolved monster was clearly a rank above them all. She hissed, cursing these pathetic mortal martial artists. Without an aura master present, they were just mere insects to be crushed. Her face morphed into pure nightmare fuel as she cast a high-tier domain expansion, engulfing the entire pavilion in pitch-black illusions. The 2 royal guards fell instantly into the heavy mind trap. The young guard was suddenly face-to-face with his ultimate fantasy. A busty cat. Girl. Her poor clothes were practically bursting from the sheer pressure of her assets. But the scarred old veteran's illusion was downright cursed. He was drooling over a massively buff, oiled-up macho man wearing a tiny flower. Seeing their deeply degenerate expressions, the demoness shifted her lethal targeting toward Van Dong, the busty guard who was still celebrating her temporary victory. Looking up, she was met with a terrifying beam of corrupt green energy. The devastating strike caused a massive explosion, filling the entire room with blinding smoke. Only a shredded talisman fluttered out from the debris, her survival completely unknown. Now alone, the female detective faced the monster's ultimate killing intent. But suddenly, a random rock came, flying out of nowhere, perfectly interrupting the monster's fatal strike and making her stumble. The absolute madman who threw it was our naked protagonist. He was trembling, completely regretting his heroic impulse. He prayed she had not noticed his sneak attack. But fate is cruel. 𝒉 broke into a cold sweat as a demonic voice whispered behind him. Enjoying your little rocks? You dared to play dead? Now I will send you straight back to hell. She unleashed an overwhelming tsunami of dark energy directly at him. 𝒉 Dang rushed in, but to her absolute shock, the naked guy was gone. It turned out his new vessel possessed the muscle memory of a true master. He had instantly teleported behind the demoness, locking her in a tight grapple, his hands naturally grabbing her soft mounds. Suddenly, 𝒉 Dang's divine whip coiled fiercely around the monster's throat. She yanked with monstrous strength, sending both the beast and 𝒉 crashing hard into the floor. The savage impact completely dislocated his shoulder, but luckily, The sealing talisman landed right in front of him. Vodang restricted the beast again and drove her blade straight toward its skull. In this absolute life or death fraction of a second, the demoness roared, finally evolving into her true form, a legendary 1,000-year-old wolf. She shattered the restraints and launched a devastating counterattack on the detective. While their boss was getting absolutely battered by the beast, the two useless guards were still trapped in their degenerate fantasy. In reality, the old man and the youth were passionately making out, creating a violently cursed romance scene in the debris. Tuvan knew if this boss monster won, he would be devoured for sure. With a broken arm and pure survival instinct, he fiercely bit down on the sacred talisman. Dodging like a shadow, he slammed his face into the beast's chest to paste the seal. The monster instantly erupted in scorching flames, howling in pure agony. Vodang did not waste a single heartbeat. Her blade flashed with lethal intent, cleanly severing the monstrous wolf's head from its body. But incredibly, the high-level demonic beast refused to die. The severed head lunged like a missile, crashing into our naked hero and blasting him straight through a solid brick wall. But thanks to absolute main character plot armor, he easily survived the impact, since the beast was running on fumes. Guided by the host's lingering soul fragments, Tuvan sprinted toward his sect. Memories flooded his mind. He was now Luke Lang Van, the Grand, patriarch of the profound sect. However, this once mighty faction had completely crumbled. The only member left was an ancient butler named Duong. Luke Van shamelessly bragged about soloing a boss tier beast, claiming the apocalyptic battle shredded his clothes and snapped his arm. Hearing this, the old butler cried tears of joy, aggressively grabbing his broken arm to heal him, making our hero scream in agony. After a brutal healing session, his arm was fully restored. He even found some decent clothes. The butler then led our reincarnated hero to the sacred ancestral shrine, a majestic hall lined with the legendary spirit tablets of past masters. He summoned two bizarre divine guardian beasts, Little Treasure and Fortune Bringer, to witness the ceremony. The old man's face turned dead serious as he announced that completing this sacred ritual would fully awaken his absolute authority as sect leader. Luke Van sneered with intense disgust. The entire sect was practically bankrupt, so what kind of trash inheritance could this ruined place even offer? The old man quickly silenced his doubts. 500 years ago, the profound sect was the undisputed #1 power in the entire mortal realm. The old man firmly believed the new patriarch would evolve the sect from ashes to absolute supremacy. Hearing this hype, Luke Van's eyes practically burned with greed. There had to be an overpowered, heaven-defying artifact or a divine martial art waiting for him. But the butler crushed his dreams, explaining that the sect's legendary treasures were all lost because the previous master died completely broke without leaving a single stored dime. How was he supposed to rebuild a god-tier sect with literal garbage? Suddenly, the old man remembered an ancient relic. He forcefully pried open the divine beast's jaw, finally pulling out a filthy green hat. Luke Van stared in absolute horror. This cursed, foul-smelling trash was his grand inheritance? It literally reeked of failure. The butler quickly stopped his rage, preparing to reveal its shocking secret. The sect's ancient tradition dictated one absolute rule: defeat a demon, wear this sacred crown, and claim the ultimate legacy. But an hour passed, and the protagonist just looked completely ridiculous. This is absolute trash. It's completely useless, he scoffed. The old servant quickly stopped him. Wait, young master. We forgot to light the patriarch's soul lamp. I will trust you one last time, Lu Yun grumbled. With a suspicious glare, he put the crown back on. Suddenly, a blazing pillar of green fire erupted. From the ethereal flames emerged the terrifying demoness from before. Her monstrous aura exploded, causing the three cowards to flee for their lives, abandoning their master. Revealing her true ghost fox form, she lunged. Her demonic fangs sank deep into Lu Yun's shoulder. Crimson blood sprayed everywhere. It seemed utterly hopeless. Lu Yun felt the cold embrace of death again. In his fading consciousness, past life memories flashed. Endless exploitation. Society's leeches had drained his previous life. The heavens granted me a second chance. I refused to die as trash. Roaring, Lu Yun ferociously bit into the demoness's neck. She shrieked in sheer agony. His dominating willpower suddenly awakened the legacy crown. It instantly devoured her very soul. Covered in blood, an explosive power surged. Straight from his dantian, ancient knowledge flooded his mind like a raging river. This is the supreme mystic sect technique. The cowardly servant and two beasts crept back. Congratulations, young master. You claimed the supreme legacy. The old man explained the system's absolute rule. Slaying a beast automatically grants its power. The fallen sect could finally rise. However, this boundless power came with a terrible curse. The sect leader's destiny would be plagued by extreme misfortune. This very curse had destroyed all previous generations. The only loophole to shatter this dark curse? Expand the sect's numbers drastically. The best method? Produce countless powerful heirs. More descendants meant significantly weaker misfortune. Based on my precise observations, your physical stamina is perfect for this. When exactly did you peek at my body? Old man? Sitting comfortably. On his bed, our protagonist envisioned a glorious harem. If it is for the sect's revival, I shall make this noble sacrifice. Shifting focus, he immediately checked his newly awakened legacy system. He discovered a terrifying truth. This divine art levels up by devouring monsters. Furthermore, this absolute power could even resurrect devoured beasts as absolutely loyal shadows. Instantly, the demoness materialized, completely bound by his overwhelming aura. Sensing his godlike suppression, she immediately bowed. In absolute submission. Interrogation revealed her identity, 𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒅. She had escaped from the dreaded supreme prison. During her desperate flight, a mysterious shadow approached her with a deadly deal. Assassinate this host, and your freedom is guaranteed. The mastermind was entirely cloaked in abyssal dark energy. Their gender and identity remained a complete mystery. Currently at the absolute peak of the adversity realm, her terrifying mastery over grand illusions had effortlessly manipulated the elite Imperial Guards. Beyond that, her shape-shifting abilities were simply mind-blowing. A cute little kitten? A seductively dangerous snake goddess? Or perhaps an incredibly adorable lolly? This visual critical hit nearly drained his life force via nosebleeds. Stop right there. Return to your original form, he commanded. Yet, even her base appearance remained dangerously captivating. Recalling his new shadow pet, exhaustion finally claimed him. Waking up to a growling stomach past noon, he found the old servant eagerly waiting in the dining hall. To celebrate your glorious triumph, I prepared a legendary feast. Our protagonist stared at the pathetic, microscopic carrot. Are you kidding me? A magnificent sect, and we eat this? How can 4 souls survive on this garbage? The old man tragically confessed their daily routine of foraging wild grass. Lu Yun cursed his absolutely broke inheritance. They could not even farm. How did the previous trash owner even afford his red light district adventures? Suddenly, a violently aggressive kick shattered the front gates. Ruthless mountain bandits demanding their monthly protection fee. Thugs extorting money in this absolute wasteland. But in his awakened eyes, they were mere mortal insects. Targeting their most arrogant boss, he instantly shattered his arm. A casual finger flick sent the brute flying like a broken rag doll. A reckless lackey charged, but the terrified second-in-command desperately held him back, recognizing true overwhelming strength. Reversing the roles, our overpowered lead ruthlessly looted the looters. Stripping them absolutely bare, he sent the weeping bandits packing. You absolute demon, they wailed into the distance, handing the freshly confiscated wealth to his servant. No more eating trash. The old man wept tears of profound joy. Boom! Another explosive kick hit the gate. Had the foolish bandits returned for a death wish so soon? Peering through the dust, a stunningly fierce female detective emerged. She arrived bearing an official invitation for an external investigator position, rewarding his recent monstrous kill. Hearing this, the old servant's pride completely erupted. The supreme patriarch of our legendary sect? Working as a pathetic common official? Preposterous. The monthly salary includes premium spiritual rice and solid silver, she casually added. Instant betrayal. The old man forcefully shoved his master forward. Serve justice diligently, young master. Bring home the precious grain. Absolutely speechless at this shameless lackey. En route, the stern detective outlined the harsh reality. Before claiming the official badge, you must survive the ultimate practical examination. Arriving at the bustling gates of Windcatcher City, a mysterious ancient Taoist sat divining the flow of fate. This elder's heavenly profound eyes were no joke. He could instantly pierce through a mortal's absolute hidden ailments. Yet, the moment his gaze locked onto our protagonist, sheer, unadulterated terror warped the Taoist's ancient face. A catastrophic, sky-shattering aura of doom surrounded the boy. The legendary cursed star of absolute calamity. How was he even breathing? The cold detective coldly introduced them as rival examination candidates, sizing up this supposed cursed trash. Taoist Golden Edge's eyes dripped with utter disdain. "Reject this walking disaster instantly," he arrogantly warned the detective. "His catastrophic misfortune will infect everyone in his radius. Standing near this harbinger of death guarantees a gruesome end." What an incredibly arrogant, hypocritical old fossil. Weren't they both just desperately fighting for the same pathetic job? Faking a brilliantly friendly smile, our lead slung an arm around the elder. "Let us be comrades." The Taoist violently shoved him away. Instantly, the cursed domino effect of ultimate misfortune triggered. A massive butcher's cleaver hurtled straight for the elder's skull. Miraculously, a severed pig's head intercepted the fatal strike. The detective's face drained of all color in sheer horror. The old man's terrifying prophecy of doom was absolutely real. But the official trial of survival had officially commenced. The trio arrived at a decaying, cursed, abandoned manor. A highly classified danger zone notorious for extremely mysterious vanishings. Without a doubt, an evil spirit was nesting here. Exterminate the source of this darkness, and you earn your badge. Hearing the rules, the arrogant elder instantly started posturing. "It will take me but a single incense stick to vaporize this trash." The two rivals crossed the sinister threshold into the darkness. With extreme confidence, the elder began spouting his profound analysis. "My divine calculations predict a merely pathetic demonic entity. A low-level vengeful spirit I shall easily crush underfoot." Listening to this absolute fossil arrogantly dig his own grave, Luke Van felt a strange itch. While the old man activated his heavenly eye to track the beast, our main character closely analyzed the flow of his aura. The priest was channeling pure life force into his eyes. Copying this supreme technique, Luke Van instantly awakened his own vision, revealing a massive storm of cursed, green, ghostly energy. Tracking the sinister mist, he froze in absolute horror. Hanging from the ancient demonic tree were countless severed heads, swaying like grotesque fruits in the wind. Their faces were twisted in eternal agony. With such an overwhelming kill count, this monster possessed an insane, devouring appetite. Meanwhile, the clueless old priest remained completely blind. His pathetic spiritual level could not detect the massive killing intent. Pushing the door open, he discovered a hanged bride. Suddenly, a freezing hand grabbed his shoulder. The priest nearly died of fright and collapsed. But it was just Luke Van, warning him to call for high-level backup. This cursed domain was way beyond a mortal. Furious from the jump scare, the arrogant old man scolded him. He bragged that his divine eyes saw zero threats. But the moment those arrogant words left his mouth, a heavy brick smashed right next to his family jewels. Then, a massive wooden beam crushed his skull, snapping in half. Our overpowered main character clearly carried an absolute bad luck aura. Checking the old fool's pulse, Luke Van sighed in relief. He was still breathing. He needed to drag this dead weight away. But suddenly, a suffocating demonic fog completely swallowed our hero. The cursed domain triggered a powerful illusion trap. Opening his eyes, he faced a mysterious bride in blood-red silk, softly calling him her husband. The entire terrifying atmosphere instantly transformed. The rotting ruined mansion became a lavish, brilliantly lit bridal chamber overflowing with spiritual flowers. Shocked, he bluntly told her she had kidnapped the wrong man. Before he could finish his sentence, the spectral bride threw a cursed silk flower. It instantly wrapped around him like binding chains, dragging his overpowered body straight toward her. In a single breath, she mercilessly speed-ran the ancient wedding chants. First bow to heaven, second to ancestors, husband and wife bow. Despite being trapped in this bizarre supernatural ritual, he secretly admired her god-tier casting speed. The domain shifted again, teleporting the utterly confused main character right onto the edge of the marriage bed, forcing the final phase. This ghost bride was way too aggressive. She ruthlessly pinned him down, whispering that she had starved for centuries, and this spring night was worth 1,000 gold pieces. Ripping her robes apart, she revealed an absolutely massive pair of heavenly assets. Blushing hard, Luke Van shielded his eyes. Women in this fantasy realm were terrifyingly bold. The bride crawled toward him like a predator, flaunting her flawless, fiery curves. But his survival instinct screamed. Pitch-black blood began dripping rapidly from beneath her crimson veil. Tearing the fabric away, a nightmare-inducing face was exposed. Endless rivers of cursed blood poured from her hollow, pitch-black eye sockets. This monster's design was straight out of hell. Leaning her rotting face dangerously close, she touched his cheek, then erupted in demonic fury. Where was the scar? Realizing he was an imposter, she screamed for her true husband. Her devastating killing intent locked onto him. Emitting a suffocating aura, the monstrous bride pinned him down and crushed his throat. But as an absolute veteran of horror tropes, our hero felt absolutely zero fear. With a brutal front kick, he launched the demoness flying across the room. He was genuinely shocked by his own explosive physical stats. He had not even activated his aura. Recovering instantly, the fiend summoned giant cursed scissors from the void, charging like a beast. Yet again, using zero spiritual energy, he easily destroyed her with another devastating kick. Crawling from the rubble, the terrifying boss suddenly bawled like a baby, crying literal rivers of blood about her tragic mortal past. She wailed about being bullied by humans even after evolving into a ghost. Her pathetic sobbing was genuinely pitiful, but the noise pollution was destroying his eardrums. Annoyed, he ruthlessly ordered the spirit to confess. She was originally a noble lady from the Chu clan. On her wedding night, brutal bandits ambushed her estate, slaughtering her beloved husband. After suffering unspeakable torment at their hands, she chose to end her own life. Remaining as an earthbound spirit, she only wanted to reunite with her husband's shattered soul. She never intended to devour anyone. Analyzing her pathetic combat power, our genius main character realized the truth. She was way too weak to have massacred hundreds of victims. A hidden apex predator was pulling the strings. Glancing outside, the old priest had vanished. In his place stood an absolute nightmare, radiating a supreme, blood-red tyrannical aura. The mutated beast had grabbed the old man by the throat, dragging him toward the demonic tree. Reacting with godlike reflexes, 𝒉𝒏 snatched a wooden spear and hurled it, aiming straight for the monster's eye. But the creature possessed terrifying battle intelligence, using the priest as a human meat shield. Whether by supreme luck or absolute divine comedy, the spear impaled the old man right in the backside. Jolted awake, the priest screamed about who dared violate his rear. Ignoring his agonizing wails, the ghost bride cheered enthusiastically. She praised her hero's legendary marksman skills. Sweating drops of guilt, he realized his bad luck aura was undeniably real. Losing its patience, the highly evolved monster stopped holding back. Launching the old priest into the sky, it moved to devour him instantly. But the old man's survival instincts exploded, forcefully prying open the massive beast's crushing jaws. He was pushed to his absolute limits. Trapped in the death zone, the priest sweated bullets while our main character casually praised his impressive physical strength. Panicking, the old man begged for an immediate rescue, pointing out its critical weak spots. With his mana completely drained, 𝒉𝒏 grabbed another wooden branch, instantly entering the ultimate sword master state. Dashing forward, he flawlessly dodged a lethal supersonic swipe. Unleashing the legendary 7 Emotions sword art, he delivered an earth-shattering critical strike straight to its spine. As the boss monster shrieked in absolute agony, the priest barely escaped the jaws of death. Having its free experience meal stolen right from its mouth, the mutated beast went completely berserk. That god-tier strike was a supreme legacy skill. This legendary mystic sect technique completely bypassed the system, allowing a zero-level novice to unleash absolute devastation without prior cultivation. Analyzing the enemy's stats, the priest recognized the chimera, an owl's head, wolf's body, and eagle's claws, mimicking a human child's cry. It was a legendary night demon. These trash-tier mobs were naturally cowards, so its sudden terrifying evolution made zero sense. However, the veteran exorcist had a trump card. Flashing rapid hand seals, the priest reached deep into his pants, miraculously pulling out an insanely massive, oversized holy sword. Even our overpowered main character was absolutely speechless. Performing a dizzying combo, he marked his forehead with blazing blood. He ordered 𝒉𝒏 to aggro the boss, buying enough time to fully charge his ultimate spell. He only needed 30 breaths. Spamming his emotion sword art, 𝒉𝒏 perfectly drew the monster's aggro. While dodging lethal strikes, the old priest began chanting his ultimate incantation. Channeling absolute heavenly authority into the blade. Cleanse the corrupted chaos. Borrow the limitless power of the heavens. Enforce divine justice. Transform the ultimate celestial energy. Suppressing the intense recoil, he bit his tongue and sprayed pure lifeblood onto the sword. The legendary weapon erupted with a blinding divine light. The ultimate subjugation was finally complete. The monstrous beast slammed 𝒉𝒏💏 into the wall. "Take my blood essence. Summon heavenly lightning." The Taoist priest offered his extreme yin weapon to assist our overpowered main character. "This heavenly blade suppresses all evil," the old priest boasted confidently, ready to show off his ultimate demon-subduing skills. But before the arrogant old man could even make his grand move, bam! The monster stomped his face straight into the dirt. 𝒉𝒏💏 just face-palmed. "Can you wait until after we kill the beast to flex? Seriously. This is exactly why villains always die early. Talking too much gets you killed." Left with zero options, our main character had to step up. Gripping the priest's blade tightly, he channeled his surging aura and focused his ultimate power. His divine eye snapped open. Just as expected, the creature's massive weak point glowed bright red at its abdomen. Condensing all his energy into one fatal strike, 𝒉𝒏💏 launched forward like a shooting star, moving at godlike speed. His blade sliced cleanly through the monster's belly. The fragile sword shattered into countless pieces upon impact. Meanwhile, the colossal beast collapsed heavily, completely lifeless and drained of all energy. "Not bad for a borrowed sword," 𝒉𝒏💏 smirked, "though the durability is absolute trash." Looking around the chaotic battlefield, he realized the female head constable had completely vanished. Despite the earth-shattering commotion, something was definitely off about this cursed place. "What a waste," he sighed inwardly. His legendary devour skill could only absorb one monster at a time, and he was still digesting the previous dream demon's pure power. He could not swallow this massive beast's core just yet. As he stared hungrily at the wasted loot, a weak, ghostly voice echoed from behind. "Please, mighty hero, I beg of you. I only wish to reunite with my husband. Please help me find his scattered soul." Seeing the demon girl's fragile, fading spiritual body, our overpowered hero felt a rare moment of sympathy. He agreed to fulfill her final wish. Overjoyed, the demoness sealed her soul inside a glowing jade pendant. "If you wear this love token, it will resonate perfectly whenever my husband's soul is nearby." After securing the spirit pendant, 𝒉𝒏💏 turned his attention to the knocked-out priest. When shaking failed, a quick barrage of heavy slaps finally woke the old man. Just then, the female constable rushed back inside. Clutching his badly swollen face, the priest cursed the beast's heavy hands. While everyone questioned the mysterious demonic seals binding this domain, a sudden streak of eerie green aura attempted to escape toward the door. But absolutely nothing escapes the constable's sharp eyes. Crack! Her enchanted whip lashed out, tightly binding the strange green smoke. The aura squirmed before forcefully transforming into its true shape. A tiny, pouting demon girl. So this was the terrifying monster's true evolved form. Furious about his ruined face, the old priest charged forward with a lethal talisman. "Die, demon," he roared, ready to shatter her origin soul completely. Clang! The female constable quickly intercepted the fatal blow. "We need answers first," she commanded fiercely. Glaring at the trembling demon, she threatened, "I will release you for questioning. Try to run, and you are dead meat. Do you understand?" Since the terrified monster couldn't speak, the constable made it incredibly simple. Just nod or shake your head. Pointing at the horrifying giant tree covered in human faces, she demanded the absolute truth. "Did you create this nightmare?" The little demon nodded twice, then frantically started shaking her head. The conflicting answers made the old priest explode with blazing rage. "Nodding and shaking? What kind of trick is this? Are you mocking me?" But 𝒉𝒏💏's piercing gaze saw the hidden truth immediately. Someone else had been controlling this evolved beast. Realizing the dark aura had finally vanished, the demon girl beamed with overwhelming joy. She excitedly pulled up her shirt, revealing something that made everyone gasp. The priest instantly recognized the cursed formation carved into her pale skin. Could he be the mastermind? The constable urgently pressed for more details. The little demon pointed directly at the ancient tree's massive roots. Hidden deep within lay the legendary 3-talent spirit-gathering array. Seeing this, the priest's face drained of color. The culprit's true identity was now completely undeniable. He had to warn his martial uncle immediately. Whoever laid this meticulous demonic trap was plotting a catastrophic conspiracy. "First, we must absolutely obliterate this formation, then report to the royal court," he declared anxiously. Though the array looked terrifying, our overpowered main character dismantled it in mere seconds. Instantly, the cursed human figures erupted into dense clouds of resentful energy, which rapidly dispersed into the thin air forever. "You have officially passed the trial," the female constable announced proudly. "Follow me to the Demon Suppression Bureau." Meanwhile, the newly freed demon transformed into a tiny bird, happily fluttering around Luke Van's broad shoulders. She clung to him like an absolute lifeline, since he had shattered her agonizing curse. Staying by this legendary hero's side was the only way she truly felt safe. The universe had undeniably bound their fates together. He had reincarnated just days ago, yet he had already gathered 2 demonesses and a female ghost. "My romantic luck is dangerously overpowered," he chuckled inwardly. After a long journey, the party finally arrived at their ultimate destination. Before them stood a breathtakingly majestic fortress. This magnificent citadel was the official headquarters where his new life would officially begin. The female constable ordered a heavily bandaged junior officer to show Luke Van around the grand compound. While she hurried to brief the higher-ups on their deadly encounter, the injured guide took over. This poor guy had gotten his arm absolutely crushed during the infamous spring brothel incident just a few days ago, and the dark culprit was none other than the Dream Demon. Walking through the grand halls, the guide explained everything. The Demon Suppression Bureau is an elite organization directly established by the glorious royal court, he proclaimed proudly. "We have 2 main duties here. First, eradicating all supernatural threats in our territory. Second, guarding the legendary evil suppression prison, where the most terrifying mutated monsters are locked away for all eternity. Our elite forces are divided into 4 divine ranks: Heaven, Earth, Profound, and Yellow. Since our branch is relatively small, you won't find any heaven-defying experts stationed here. We mainly handle mid-tier supernatural anomalies. Our boss and the 3 head constables are all Profound rank experts. Each commands their own elite squad of Yellow rank members." He then explained the rigid, brutal work schedule required of all official demon hunting agents. Official members clock in at the hour of the dragon and leave at the hour of the rooster. Night shifts rotate, but if an apocalyptic crisis breaks out, you must report to the battlefield instantly. Hearing this terrifying schedule, Luke Van's modern instincts flared up. "Wait, do we get overtime pay?" he demanded suspiciously. The guide froze in utter shock. In this era, everyone sacrificed their lives for the royal court willingly. Heroes protected the innocent without ever asking for extra coins. But having suffered severe corporate exploitation in his past life before reincarnating, our main character wasn't about to become a miserable wage slave in this magical world. He immediately set his firm boundaries. "Listen closely. When my shift ends, I am gone. If you want me fighting monsters after hours, you better pay up." Meanwhile, inside another room, 2 traumatized royal guards were hiding. These were the exact same guys the Dream Demon tricked into kissing each other. Ever since that horrifying case, intense awkwardness suffocated them both. Unluckily for them, Luke Van walked by and instantly recognized their familiar, humiliated faces. Hearing people whisper about their traumatic lip lock drove the guard absolutely insane. "Stop imagining things!" he roared furiously. "This daddy only likes women. Tell them the truth, old friend," he pleaded desperately, his face burning bright red. "Who is blushing?" "Bullshit," the other guard barked defensively. Moving on, Luke Van toured the mystical workshop of Van Dong. She was the genius artisan responsible for researching and forging legendary demon-subduing artifacts and heavenly mystical weapons. She typically harvested materials directly from the corpses of evolved beasts. Sadly, she suffered a devastating eye injury during the previous brothel mission. It was entirely due to the excessively long casting time of her complex magical talismans. But seeing her violently venting her blazing fury on a mutated pig carcass absolutely terrified the trio. Sweating bullets, they silently agreed to sneak away and avoid disturbing this terrifyingly unhinged crafting master any further. The final and most crucial location was the evil suppression prison. This massive underground labyrinth was specifically constructed to lock away nightmare-inducing abominations. Every single monster was strictly categorized by its terrifying threat level and dark evolution stage. Everything from the cursed architecture to the magical chains depended entirely on the demon's danger levels. The prison had 4 descending floors, but the local branch only actively operated the top 2 shadowy, blood-stained levels. These restricted levels housed Profound and Yellow rank demonic beasts. To a normal human, the entrance looked ordinary, but the moment Luke Van channeled his aura and opened his divine eye, a wave of absolute shock crashed over him. The hidden reality was breathtaking. Buried beneath his feet was an unimaginably colossal ceiling formation, crackling with tens of thousands of heavenly lightning bolts. "Impossible!" he gasped. Such an overwhelmingly terrifying power source shouldn't exist here. How could something so massive exist in this tiny prison? Luke Van rubbed his eyes, thinking fatigue was playing tricks on his mind. Suddenly, Fu Dai urged him forward. The high-ranking officials were waiting in the main hall. The two dashed like lightning, but upon arrival, the grand room was empty, save for a female officer and a lowly servant sweeping the floor. Plot twist! This humble servant was actually the legendary commander of the Exorcism Bureau, Cao Tanhan. The main character smirked. Were they playing the undercover boss trope to test his true potential? The commander awkwardly coughed. Times were incredibly tough, and funds were tight. Doing the sweeping himself was the only way to save a few coins on hiring actual janitors. Catching Luke Van's utterly disdainful glare, the old man panicked. "Do not worry. Your salary will absolutely be paid on time." The undercover boss invited our hero to sit, before revealing a dark secret. Originally, elite Qi observers from the Heavenly Bureau had descended to assist them. But tragedy struck. Just 10 days ago, 5 of these supreme masters met a horrifying and mysterious end overnight. Wiped out in a single night. The terrifying news reached the city lord, who ordered the Exorcism Bureau to mobilize every single warrior for a massive investigation. But the nightmare was just beginning. While the front gates were in chaos, disaster struck the rear. An unknown shadow took advantage of their blind spot and completely shattered the ancient seal of the demon prison. Even though they desperately patched the barrier, a terrifying horde of demonic beasts had already broken free. To stop the apocalypse, the city lord instantly activated the ultimate city defense formation. The entire city was now a massive, inescapable cage filled with bloodthirsty monsters. The chaotic outbreak was unprecedented. Despite sending emergency distress signals to the imperial court, the newly dispatched Qi observers were utterly useless. "This is why we desperately need your divine ocular powers," the old man pleaded. "You are the only one who can track down these hidden beasts." These ancient demons had withered away inside the dark prison for decades, leaving them incredibly weak. Letting these vile creatures roam free would be catastrophic. True warriors had to eradicate them immediately. Hearing this epic quest, our overpowered main character only asked one question: "Where is my money?" The commander furiously waved his hands. "Think of the innocent lives you will save with your legendary power. A true hero fights for justice, not gold." Luke Van massaged his temples, completely annoyed by this pathetic speech. "Shut up," he commanded coldly. He was a pragmatic survivor in a cruel world. No gold, no monster hunting. It is that simple. If you short me even a single copper coin, I walk. Cold sweat poured down the commander's face. This young master's greed was as monstrous as the demons. Conceding defeat, the old man lowered his voice and offered a legendary compromise. "Take this token. It grants you the absolute authority of an elite officer." Suddenly, an arrogant voice shattered the tension. "Hold it right there. Whether this trash deserves official status remains to be seen." The hostile newcomer was none other than No Bat Bin, the notoriously aggressive captain of the Mystic Division. Luke Van smirked inwardly. Just another classic arrogant senior trying to crush the rookie. He accepted the challenge to prove his divine strength, but on one absolute condition. The loser had to pay up. The captain foolishly agreed, betting 6 months of his salary. "If you lose, I will shatter your leg. You will kneel and beg for mercy." But our overpowered hero coldly rejected the meager stakes. "My leg is worth far more than that garbage. I want 5 years of your total wealth. If I lose, I will sever both my own legs." The captain's eyes flashed with murderous intent as he sealed the lethal bet. The rules were set. Each would lead 2 subordinates to hunt demons until sunset. Whoever devoured or captured the most beasts would claim ultimate victory. Luke Van mockingly thanked the fool for the massive incoming fortune. Such absolute confidence left them stunned. On their way back, Fu Dai quickly revealed the tragic lore behind the captain's blinding rage. He was not purely evil, but entirely broken by his dark past. Years ago, a fake scammer had lured his squad into a deadly trap. His blood brothers were violently slaughtered, and his entire unit was nearly wiped out. That lingering trauma bred his absolute hatred for newcomers. Shaking with fear, Fu Dai begged our hero to cancel the suicidal deathmatch. But Luke Van's eyes gleamed with unstoppable greed. "I respect his tragic backstory, but when immense wealth is involved, I never lose." His overwhelming aura silenced all doubts. Meanwhile, deep within the darkest abyss of the demon prison, a massive rat beast plunged into its cell. But this was no ordinary low-level monster waiting to be devoured. A sinister, blood-red seal pulsated on its monstrous flesh, exactly like the cursed night demoness. A terrifying mastermind was manipulating the shadows. The next day, amidst the bustling city streets, a disgusting anomaly appeared. A foul puddle of sentient slime slithered across the ground. This perverted low-level slime beast was shamelessly peeking under the dresses of beautiful maidens. Just as blood dripped from its ecstatic nose, a heavy boot crushed it. The main character's squad had arrived. A disgusting slime acting like a degenerate in broad daylight. How bold, pinning the squirming monster under his terrifying spiritual pressure. 𝒉𝒏 mercilessly interrogated the beast, but the answers were shrouded in mystery. Seizing a tiny gap in the overwhelming aura, the slippery slime blasted out from under the boot and dashed away. As they gave chase, his subordinate quickly revealed a horrifying truth. Every single ancient scroll detailing the monster's weaknesses had been reduced to ashes. Exactly 81 horrific beasts were currently running rampant. Worse yet, most of these abominations possessed over a century of horrifying cultivation. They were absolute killing machines. The trio rapidly cornered the pathetic slime in a dark, suffocating alleyway. 𝒉𝒏 casually lifted the weak, trembling beast with a single hand. But suddenly, a terrifying killer intent surged. A highly lethal, purple toxic swamp materialized from the shadows. Boiling, corrosive acid violently blasted into 𝒉𝒏's exposed arm, melting the flesh. Activating his divine ocular skill, 𝒉𝒏 instantly analyzed the deadly battlefield. It was a meticulously planned, fatal ambush. Meanwhile, the deadly deadline had arrived, and the arrogant captain stood waiting for our hero. Deep down, he secretly hoped the rookie possessed enough monstrous strength to survive, to prove he wasn't just another pathetic weakling. Dealing with a swamp demon was an absolute nightmare, surviving only because its cultivation realm was incredibly low. Suddenly, an elite guard pointed a trembling finger at the distant shadows. "It is him, the treacherous scum who slaughtered our brothers." Boiling wrath erupted from the captain as he commanded an absolute, merciless pursuit. Following a heart-racing chase, they violently slammed the traitor to the stone floor. Trapped inside the claustrophobic alleyway, the deceitful scammer finally shed his human disguise. He morphed into a grotesque, towering swamp demon. In a flash, devastating acid blasted straight into the terrified guard's eyes. The captain instantly shielded his face, his heart pounding with pure dread. This was a flawless, lethal trap. "Impossible! I completely annihilated you years ago," he roared. Simultaneously, our overpowered main character faced an identical nightmare. A suffocating demonic barrier completely locked down 𝒉𝒏's squad. A lethal blast of melting acid shot toward the female subordinate. Her blade sang out, instantly deflecting the terrifying strike in a brilliant display of mastery. However, the residual toxic splash completely disintegrated her armor. Her breathtakingly gorgeous, fiercely hot figure was instantly exposed to the world. Wiping his bloody nose, the main character silently praised the beast's absolute top-tier attack strategy. Snatching a massive battle blade, 𝒉𝒏 stepped up to crush the enemy. But the spectacularly spicy view in front of him almost caused a fatal massive nosebleed. His chaotic thoughts only halted when the flustered maiden frantically shielded herself. "Stare any longer and I will obliterate your eyes," she shrieked. Snapping back to absolute focus, his aura exploded. "You pathetic, lowly beast, using such cheap tricks. Do it again. Face me directly. If you have a death wish, step up for a one-on-one duel." Falling for the absolute taunt, the monstrous entity unleashed a devastating tsunami of toxic rays. However, our hero's supreme sword arts effortlessly shattered every single deadly strike, but his flawless defense left a fatal blind spot. A terrifying scream echoed from behind. He whipped around, only to see the female warrior violently bound in an incredibly provocative, highly questionable tentacle trap. Gripping his blade while aggressively suppressing another epic nosebleed, our hero charged into the abyss to rescue her. But in a mere fraction of a second, the ancient beast violently suppressed his movements. Now, both were hopelessly chained. Plunged into a totally catastrophic death trap, the hero still completely failed to look away from her breathtakingly massive assets. The blushing warrior furiously screamed at him to unlock his hidden power and shatter this nightmare. But lurking in the shadows, the pervert's mind went entirely blank. A massive fountain of nosebleed erupted. He could have easily filled 2 whole buckets. Exhausted from holding this awkward position, Wu Yang collapsed right into Lu Yun. This instantly snapped our protagonist awake. Meanwhile, the swamp monster revealed its true, horrifying form. You bugs cannot escape my grasp. Tremble before my absolute terror. But Lu Yun completely ignored the beast. He smoothly promised to protect the beautiful lady, though he completely left out the actual escape plan. The monster erupted into a blinding rage. How dare these ants ignore its legendary entrance? Flaunting their romance right to my face? You dare look down on my supreme existence? It unleashed a massive, devastating poison blast, facing this absolutely catastrophic, life-threatening crisis. All it took was one incredibly confident smile, and the epic arrival of a divine savior. It was the legendary little beast, Ye Ni. Arriving instantly, it unleashed a powerful aura. The divine wind shattered the toxic mud prison, freeing our heroes completely. Excellent work, little guy. I honestly thought you would run away. Protect this beautiful sister for me. I will handle the rest. The furious demon cursed the divine bird. You damn pest ruined my flawless masterpiece. Suddenly, a mysterious shadow materialized behind it. The startled beast launched a desperate counterattack. However, its supreme poison strikes could not scratch MANHWA even slightly. After striking wildly, the terrifying truth clicked. She was just an untouchable spirit body. Physical attacks were completely useless here. This must be their pathetic stalling tactic. Meanwhile, MANHWA playfully taunted the creature. Come on, play with me a little longer. It is so rare for me to come outside. How can you coldly ignore me like this? The enraged mud beast locked onto Lu Yun, but our overpowered hero had already channeled his aura. The blazing sword glowed with immense, overwhelming energy, easily shattering the monster's devastating strikes. He perfectly redirected every single brutal attack, all thanks to his previous divine sword training, unlocking this unexpectedly terrifying, supreme power. He felt an absolute breakthrough approaching. If he could just grasp this profound secret, his seven emotions sword would evolve completely. Lu Yun aggressively dismantled the demon's deadly assault, closing the distance for a legendary finishing strike. He sliced the vile creature straight in half. But this monstrous aberration was no ordinary beast. It instantly burrowed into the corrupted earth, materializing behind them with a sinister, chilling whisper. Inside my swamp domain, you are mere insects. I can flawlessly merge with this endless darkness. No matter how incredibly overpowered your sword arts are, you can never track my ultimate hidden movements. Lu Yun completely ignored the villain's arrogant trash talk, activating his omniscient divine eye instantly. With one flawless, devastating sword thrust, he brutally pinned the screaming beast to the ground. The terrified monster simply could not comprehend this. How could he pierce my perfect absolute illusion? Is this monster actually a legendary artifact master? With a deathly glare, Lu Yun twisted the blade. The agonizing pain made the demonic beast squeal. Please spare my utterly worthless life, great hero. Let me live, and I will perfectly repay you. Our overpowered protagonist actually considered this pathetic offer, until he realized it meant giving him its gross body. Absolute disgust made Lu Yun want to vomit. He immediately prepared a devastating, ultimate execution strike. Wait! I meant I can destroy your enemies. Please, great hero, do not judge my current weakness. Help me complete one simple, tiny task, and my power will undergo a terrifying evolution. Intrigued, Lu Yun forced the trembling monster to confess. I am merely a fractured, incomplete shadow clone. That pathetic trash hiding in the corner and I. We both split from the exact same supreme origin body. After escaping the legendary demon suppression prison, to completely evade those relentless, terrifying pursuers, the true body scattered us across the entire city, allowing us to secretly farm power and evolve. Our absolute growth method is a supreme devour skill. We forcefully drain the residual energy from rotting corpses, or savagely devour the absolute power of other clones. Just help me perfectly consume the rest of them, and I will flawlessly evolve into the true body. My cultivation will violently break through the New Moon realm. Even reaching the legendary Upper Profound realm is possible. Then I shall serve you with absolute, undying loyalty. I have already successfully devoured 3 identical clones. I know a terrifying clone who consumed 5 others. He is currently ambushing the exorcism division at the port. Help me devour his massive, overwhelmingly high-level essence. My evolution will be absolutely, 100% guaranteed, while passionately hyping up its own ultimate potential. Its foul body was instantly sliced completely in half. Lu Yun coldly eradicated the scheming, worthless trash. If you were a beautiful demoness, maybe I would care. Since you are ugly, just rest in absolute peace. Turning around, he saw the guard critically, disastrously wounded. This vile monster slime was not just highly corrosive, it carried a terrifying, paralyzing, and lethal toxic effect. Little Fu's life force is dropping at a terrifying rate. We must rush him to a divine healer immediately. Lu Yun then glanced at Wu Yang's extremely compromised state. Returning to headquarters looking like this would spark massive rumors. The spirit 𝒉𝒐𝒏 suddenly had an absolutely brilliant idea. She instantly morphed, wrapping around the stunning female constable, transforming into an outrageously gorgeous, legendary set of armor, completely replacing her usual fierce, battle-hardened tomboy aura. Soon after dashing across the perilous, monster-infested battlefield, Lu Yun discovered the elite Chief Wu totally paralyzed, completely immobilized by that exact same terrifying swamp toxin. This was the exact same vile creature that ambushed him. It deliberately plotted to assassinate my absolute existence. Slay this abomination, and our epic wager is yours. Suddenly, Lu Yun stared at the heavens and screamed. A truly devastating, totally unexpected realization hit his mind. My official shift has officially ended right now. He casually waved goodbye to the utterly stunned crowd. A real protagonist has massive chores at home. Goodbye, until the desperate chief frantically promised epic overtime pay. Kill the beast for extra gold? Lu Yun instantly beamed. Why did you not mention this supreme quest reward sooner? Watch this glorious young hero effortlessly eradicate ultimate evil. Meanwhile, the surviving, extremely pathetic mud clone watched closely, believing our overpowered hero was just a clueless rookie. The foolish creature launched a cowardly absolute sneak attack, completely unaware that Lu Yun's omniscient divine eye saw everything. With a blindingly fast, flawless flash of his blade, he pierced its foul heart, causing a massive blood fountain. Realizing the terrifying skill gap, it instantly dug underground. The humiliated beast spat venomous curses while retreating like trash. You cowardly, despicable sneak. I will totally annihilate you next time, but absolutely no one escapes our overpowered main character. Lu Yun snatched the elite chief's legendary blade instantly. He brutally punted the weapon straight at the fleeing coward. Channeling a terrifying aura, he violently launched himself forward, instantly creating his very own ultimate heavenly flying sword art, easily matching the terrified monster's absolute top escape speed. With just one slightly aggressive, extremely heavy downward stomp, the violently accelerating blade slammed perfectly into the earth, brutally pinning the screaming abomination deep into the mud. Next, our cold-blooded protagonist swung his original, terrifying second blade, unleashing a flawlessly smooth, devastating arc of pure sword intent, slicing the wretched beast utterly and completely in twain. It died instantly without even fully comprehending its absolute demise. Glancing around, Lu Yun saw the chief had fainted completely. What an absolute waste of my incredibly epic god-tier pose. However, a single trembling spectator was still hiding nearby. It was the pathetic, utterly weak mud clone from earlier. Technically a true fragment, but with the lowest, trash-tier stats. Lu Yun coldly commanded it to activate its devour skill. Consume that fresh corpse, then immediately hide beneath my feet. Staring into the protagonist's absolute, terrifyingly cold death glare, the traumatized little slime sobbed violently while frantically chewing. It looked absolutely pathetic, yet oddly hilarious to watch. Lu Yun smirked, realizing this perfect little pawn was easily controlled. Its ultimate growth potential is actually off the absolute charts. I will completely fatten it up, then ruthlessly devour it. My personal combat strength will undoubtedly skyrocket to legendary levels. Just as it finished feasting, the massive backup squad arrived. Wu Yang was shell-shocked by this flawlessly wiped battlefield. She commanded 2 elite guards to transport the injured. Meanwhile, she had to escort Lu Yun to the sect. There was a destiny-altering secret she desperately needed to confirm. Late at night, Elder Du noticed the glowing lights. Seeing the sect leader's room illuminated, he sighed heavily. He assumed Lu Yun was completely locking himself away, crushed by the mountainous pressure of his terrifying responsibilities. As an elder, I must aggressively find him a wife. Producing a legendary heir is a critical, ultimate mission. But the moment he boldly kicked the door open, he was completely blinded by an outrageously massive harem inside. Seeing the gorgeous line of beauties, the old man froze before jumping for pure joy, as expected of our glorious sect leader. In just one short day, he brought back 4 stunning wives. The legacy of our mystic sect is finally saved. Keep up the magnificent work, sect leader. This old servant will go prepare some incredibly nourishing tonic soup for your boundless stamina. The situation escalated so fast that Lu Yun could not even react in time. Coughing awkwardly, he quickly changed the subject. Ignore that old fool. Let us get back to the main business. He introduced everyone's background. Little Zhen's fate was far too pitiful, and I could not leave her in that cursed house. I plan to help her find her husband's scattered soul. This will fulfill her dying wish. I hope Constable Wu Yang can understand and spare her. Wu Yang nodded in agreement. After all, the ghost bride had never harmed a single living soul. He then pointed to Yani, who was clinging tightly to Lu Yun. Her body holds ancient array runes. We can use her as bait to lure out the mastermind behind the barrier. Since she is so attached to you, keep her by your side for now. Next was MANHWA. Lu Yun completely hid the demonic girl's dark origins, fearing the evil suppression division. Those enforcers would never let her dark past slide. After reporting on the strange monsters surrounding him, Lu Yun finally completed one of the 2 main tasks Wu Yang had requested. However, the second task still remained. Blushing deeply, Wu Yang said it was not something others could hear. She shyly asked him to kick everyone out first. Hearing this, MANHWA narrowed her eyes. Jealousy flared in the demoness. We have already seen your entire mysterious body, so what is left to hide? With a flick of her wrist, she instantly vanished Wu Yang's outer garments. The clothes turned into thin smoke. The sudden overwhelming view caused Lu Yun's nose to violently bleed like a fountain. Blushing furiously, Wu Yang desperately tried to cover her exposed skin. What a shameless demon. After staring a bit too long, Lu Yun finally ordered MANHWA to redress the furious constable. Boiling with absolute rage, Wu Yang glared at him, her voice trembling. I do not know why you hate me so much, but next time, I will not spare you. MANHWA immediately took the chance to act pitifully cute in front of her master. Still wiping his bloody nose, Lu Yun quickly dismissed the peanut gallery. He kicked everyone out to focus on Wu Yang's main issue. After pouting enough, MANHWA reluctantly led the girls away. That smelly woman just arrived and is already clinging to our master. I have not even kissed him yet, and she wants to steal him. She looks like a proper lady on the outside. But who knew she was such a shameless seductress? Master must have been completely tricked to protect her. Right? You only know how to eat. What a ridiculously stupid bird. Inside the quiet room, Lu Yun froze in absolute shock. Wu Yang lifted her hair, revealing her bare back. A sinister, giant centipede tattoo was etched into her pale skin. Wu Yang sighed heavily. This is no ordinary tattoo. It is a goo mark. This cursed symbol means a mature demonic insect was planted inside me. Someone used forbidden witchcraft goo magic to assassinate me. It is a dark art that directly injects a demonic goo worm into the target's body. In the early stages, the cursed insect secretly feeds and grows within the host's life force. Once fully mature, it forms this goo mark. The caster can then use it to completely manipulate the victim. By the time I noticed the dark aura, the demonic insect had almost fully grown into this terrifying state. But goo witchcraft is the signature deadly art of the moon worship kingdom. The mastermind must be from their wicked ranks. Hearing this name, sudden ancient memories from his past reincarnation abruptly awakened. In the southern borders of the great Han kingdom, there lies a rogue nation ruled by demonic beasts and goo masters. Though their true motive remains hidden, she had investigated enough to know that goo worms come in countless terrifying variations. Some unleash devastating lethal poison to instantly melt the victim from the inside out. Others slowly devour the host's internal organs until they die in unimaginable agony. Rumors say the most horrifying ones can corrupt your mind and shatter your absolute willpower, turning the victim into a completely different person. I do not know which sinister goo I am infected with, but no matter what, we must destroy it before it fully awakens and attacks. The true terror of a goo worm is its ability to perfectly camouflage within the body. Ordinary spiritual chi cannot detect its hiding spot at all. Therefore, I desperately need you to use your divine chi observation to locate the parasite. Then, I will use my aura to forcefully expel it. Wasting no time, the life-saving operation began. Lu Yun activated his divine eyes. His vision pierced straight through her flesh, revealing her complex meridian network. He noticed Wu Yang's dantian was shaped like a glowing pagoda, clearly linked to her unique cultivation system. After thoroughly inspecting the beautiful constable's entire body, a sight he definitely did not mind, Lu Yun finally spoke up. The demonic goo worm is hiding right inside your head, but it appears to be an unhatched egg. The cursed insect has not reached its ultimate evolutionary stage yet. This is the perfect chance to extract it. Following Lu Yun's precise directions, Wu Yang carefully wrapped her pure aura around the sinister egg. After an intense struggle, they successfully isolated the parasite. It was time to push it out, but suddenly, a catastrophic variable occurred. Lu Yun watched in horror as the egg actively devoured her qi. It began to violently twitch. The shell shattered, unleashing a terrifying toxic centipede. Wu Yang screamed in pure, soul-crushing agony. Demonic black tattoos rapidly infected her entire body. Her blood boiled like molten lava. In a split second, Wu Yang's entire persona shifted into something incredibly sinister. She lunged, tightly grabbing his neck. She slammed Lu Yun violently onto the bed. Before he could even process the overwhelming speed, Wu Yang flashed a wicked, predator-like smile. With ruthless force, she ripped his clothes apart, exposing his chest. Lu Yun was completely overpowered. The demonic goo had massively boosted her physical strength and weight. Utterly defenseless against her monstrous power, he had no choice but to helplessly endure the fierce onslaught. The goo worm had completely hijacked her absolute mind and body. To ensure her prey would not escape, Wu Yang swiftly sealed his pressure points. Fortunately, after a blazing, hot, breath-stealing kiss, Wu Yang forcefully regained a sliver of her own consciousness. The wicked red glow faded from her eyes. It turns out, being close to Lu Yun's unique aura earlier today had actively suppressed the demonic insect's vile energy. That was exactly why she chose him to help. The goo is only temporarily pacified. I cannot hold on to my sanity for much longer. You must hurry. Try using your overpowering qi to completely suppress the worm. See if we can obliterate it entirely. But tragedy struck. In her crazed state, she had completely paralyzed Lu Yun's pressure points. And now, her own strength was entirely depleted. Thinking fast, Lu Yun forcefully channeled his internal aura to seal the beast. As expected, his bone-chilling frost qi surged forth, instantly freezing the demonic goo worm into a deep hibernation. But when he looked over, Wu Yang had passed out cold as well. What absolute torture! A stunning beauty is laying right next to him, and he was completely paralyzed, unable to do a single thing. Lu Yun cried rivers of absolute frustration. Meanwhile, in a completely different location, another woman possessed an equally massive demonic goo tattoo. She was a mesmerizing courtesan, currently entertaining a wealthy regular client. But right in the middle of their passionate, steamy exchange, she forcefully fed him a terrifying surprise. A horrifying demonic insect slid into his mouth. It ruthlessly clamped onto his tongue. The man writhed in agonizing pain, unable to scream. The parasitic beast began to greedily devour his vital blood essence. His body rapidly withered into an empty husk. Once fully satiated, the parasite commanded the girl to brutally rip out the dead client's tongue, a scene of absolute macabre horror. Chillingly beautiful under the moonlight. High on the rooftops, a sinister duo waited. A grotesque goo bug crawled towards a stunning woman, her eyes gleaming with anticipation. Beside her stood a menacing bodyguard. Their tribal tattoos and dark attire screamed one thing: the deadly goo clan. The parasite burrowed into her skin, transferring the pure, devoured essence it had just harvested. Pure ecstasy washed over her. She let out a wild, blood-curdling moan, intoxicating power surging through her veins. Her demonic guard quickly warned her to keep quiet. The master only sent us to gather intel. You are inviting death, he hissed. Reaching out a twisted, mutated hand, he activated a terrifying devour skill, ripping the soul directly from an old bystander to interrogate later. Meanwhile, back at the mystic sect, 𝒉𝒐𝒏 finally shook Lu Yun awake. His paralysis seal was broken. Hearing that, Wu Yang had already left. Our OP main character scoffed. Women, they satisfy their desires and vanish, he grumbled inwardly. Seeing his troubled face, 𝒉𝒐𝒏 completely misunderstood. She shoved his face straight into her massive soft assets. She hugged him tight, scolding him for doing something shameless. Wait, I did not even do anything. Lu Yun panicked. I just healed her injuries last night. After his origin power fully regenerated, Lu Yun hit the library. He discovered a shocking truth. Every single being in this reincarnated world, even undead corpses, could cultivate. Human power was strictly divided into 9 distinct grades. No matter the diverse cultivation systems out there, everything boiled down to this 9-tier hierarchy. The only exception? the monster race. They measured pure strength differently. Since ancient times, monsters worshipped the moon, relying on its celestial energy to fuel their terrifying evolutions. Absorbing lunar essence was their ultimate power-up. Their 5 major realms mirrored the moon's phases: new moon, crescent, first quarter, waning, and full moon. The entry-level new moon realm was nothing to scoff at. Reaching peak new moon gave a monster the exact same destructive power as a 7th-grade human powerhouse. Lu Yun smirked. Once he fully digested 𝒉𝒐𝒏𝒔's residual energy with his devour skill, his mystic art would skyrocket to the 9th grade, making him invincible among his peers. He would rival a 7th-grade expert easily. He recalled that a cultivator's Dantian shape dictated their potential. Chief Wu Yang's Dantian had manifested as a magnificent 3-story divine pagoda. Taoist Kuei-jin's core was a 3-petaled golden lotus. Both were legendary 7th-grade masters. But Lu Yun was sweating. Unlike them, his Dantian was a swirling, chaotic vortex of unknown power. Formless and infinite. Suddenly, his slime monster pet jiggled over. "Whoa, you devoured those 2 clones and evolved this much already?" Lu Yun gasped. It was actually taking human shape. "Wash off that foul mud, you stink!" As the grime washed away, Lu Yun's jaw dropped. His evolved monster was a ridiculously handsome pretty boy. What a massive letdown. Why could you not evolve into a beautiful girl? Sensing his master's disgust, the depressed monster buried itself in stinky mud again. Suddenly, an elder sprinted over. "Emergency! You are needed! It is my day off." Forced overtime in this fantasy world? Lu Yun sighed. Arriving at the scene, he saw rich boy Fu Dai working relentlessly, despite having both arms brutally shattered. "Talk about a crazy work ethic," Lu Yun muttered. Stepping inside, he immediately locked eyes with Chief Wu Yang. Memories of their steamy, intimate healing session flashed, painting both their faces red. Unbearable romantic tension choked the room. But duty called. 2 bodies lay cold. One was Li Qing, the archive keeper. The other was Shu'er, a beautiful girl from the pavilion. Both perished last night. The gruesome state of their corpses proved one thing. This was no human murder. A demonic entity was on the prowl. 2 murders in just 3 days. The brothel madam was losing her mind in panic. "We run a totally legitimate business here. We know nothing about these evil spirits. Why is this cursed monster targeting us? How are we supposed to make money?" she wailed. While our duo analyzed the bloody scene, they realized the true culprits were the deadly goo bugs from the ancient Vu clan. Suddenly, chaos erupted outside. An aggressive female official shoved the guards aside, storming in and demanding everyone leave. It was the Imperial Court's elite, Heavenly Guard Centurion. Sent by the Emperor himself, her name was Jiang Lang. Sparks flew instantly. She and Wu Yang clearly had a bitter rivalry. Jiang Lang immediately mocked Wu Yang's suddenly feminine outfit. "Dressing up? Does the tomboy chief finally have a crush?" she sneered. Struck right in the feelings, Wu Yang went dead silent. Smirking, Jiang Lang turned her predatory gaze to Lu Yun. She leaned in close, initially scoffing at his weak aura. Her eyes lit up hearing he was a rare chi-watcher. Instantly intrigued, she wrapped her arms tightly around him. Standing next to Lu Yun, this Amazonian beauty was absolutely massive. Seeing this shameless rival stealing her man, Wu Yang's aura flared. She furiously ordered Jiang Lang out of the crime scene. But Jiang Lang refused to budge. Instead, she mercilessly shoved Lu Yun's face deeper into her cleavage. "You think my squad actually wanted to take over this chaotic mess?" she provoked. "If the magistrate had not ordered it, we would not touch this filth. If your exorcism bureau was not full of utter trash, we would not have to clean up your disastrous mistakes. The whole city is in terrifying danger because of your incompetence." Hearing it was a direct order from the magistrate, Wu Yang gritted her teeth, completely out of options. Boiling with rage, she grabbed Lu Yun's hand and stormed out. But Jiang Lang was not done dealing critical hits. "It has been years, and you still have not broken through to the 7th grade. You reap what you sow," she laughed. That fatal insult pierced Wu Yang's heart like a legendary blade. Walking down the street, her absolute silence was utterly terrifying. Lu Yun was incredibly curious. Turns out, these 2 were bitter old rivals. Every encounter was an explosive clash of egos. Recently, the Centurion had leveled up, breaking through to the 6th grade, making her insanely arrogant. Combined with the Bureau's recent massive failures, Wu Yang had been ruthlessly suppressed. Lu Yun sighed. This was a war of women. He could not intervene. Better just focus on grinding his own power. Meanwhile, on the bustling street, Two incredibly suspicious figures were vacuuming up noodles at breakneck speed. Their monstrous appetite was a dead giveaway. Lu Yun casually approached, tapping their shoulders to offer them some of his own special noodles. Instantly, killing intent erupted. They transformed into grotesque, bloodthirsty, evolved monsters. Lu Yun prepared to use his OP skills, but Wu Yang teleported in front of him. Her face was a mask of pure, unadulterated fury. Without hesitation, she launched herself into the air. With apocalyptic strength, she stomped her boots straight into a monster's face. The devastating impact literally deformed its skull. The shockwave from her strike made even our OP main character sweat. Note to self, never make her angry, he thought, prioritizing his survival. Panting, Wu Yang barked orders at her squad. Keep hunting these beasts! The terrified guards screamed, Yes, ma'am, in perfect unison, their faces pale as ghosts. Night fell. Exhausted from forced overtime, Lu Yun did not dare complain. He obediently worked late alongside the crew. Spotting an old man selling questionable meat skewers, he bought one for a quick stamina boost. His magical bird pet drooled at the sight, but before it could take a bite, the little bird's eyes glowed ominously. It suddenly bolted into the darkness. Sensing something was terribly wrong, Lu Yun activated his movement technique. He dashed after it, but turning a sharp corner, he crashed face first into something incredibly huge and soft. It was the Heavenly Guard again. Smirking, she dragged him straight into a new nightmare. Lu Yun flat out refused the direct order. He had to find his evolving monster companion. Furious at his defiance, Jiangling violently pinned him to the dirt. She glared down with absolute authority. You are coming with me right now. That is an order. Knowing his current level was too low to resist her aura, our overpowered main character played the weak fool. But he refused to bow to tyranny so easily. Moments later, at the Grand Archive Pavilion, Lu Yun sported a brutally swollen face. He obediently trailed behind the fierce female officer in silence. Secretly, he activated his Divine Eye skill. He instantly sensed a shift in the atmosphere. A suffocating demonic aura flooded the entire area. Vicious evolved monsters were definitely lurking in the shadows. Jiangling's expression darkened with intense anxiety. This pavilion guarded all the classified criminal files of Jiangfeng City. What dark conspiracy are these beasts plotting? She muttered. She commanded the heavy armored guards to hold the perimeter. You and I will investigate the interior, she ordered the boy. Approaching the massive wooden doors, Jiangling shoved Lu Yun forward to scout the darkness. Only you possess the aura observation technique. If you do not lead the way, who will? She scoffed at his hesitation. A mere temporary worker like you has absolutely zero right to complain. Move it. Seething with hidden rage, Lu Yun swore he would devour her pride later. He pushed the creaking door open. A wave of pure, concentrated death energy slammed into him. Drip! Foul. Acidic monster saliva splashed onto his cheek. Our main character slowly raised his head. A massive mutated beast with a demonic lion skull loomed above, its monstrous jaw unhinged to swallow him whole. Roar! The creature launched a devastating, earth-shattering strike. But Lu Yun's hidden reflexes were godlike. He dodged instantly and sprinted into the courtyard. The enraged demonic beast violently barreled after him. Its monstrous stamina and explosive speed were absolutely terrifying. Suddenly changing targets, the beast locked onto Jiangling. It lunged with razor-sharp mutating claws. Reacting instantly, the female Grandmaster gracefully shifted her stance, perfectly evading the beast's deadly swipe. Bam! She drove a brutal, aura-infused elbow straight into its chest. That single, flawless strike sent the monster flying backwards. Crash! A massive explosion shook the courtyard. Watching from the shadows, our main character was utterly stunned. So this was the explosive power of a 6th-tier warrior. But her combat posture was even more distracting. Suddenly, two deadly projectiles blasted out from the darkness. They shot straight toward Jiangling's vital spots. Swoosh! She narrowly evaded certain death. Another high-level evolved monster was definitely hiding inside, and this beast was no ordinary prey. The devastating physical wound on its chest was rapidly regenerating. It rose back to its feet like an immortal fiend. Finally, the hidden mastermind stepped into the moonlight. 4 masked demonic puppets flanked him like loyal shadow guards. The mysterious villain controlled these beasts using a cursed drum. Ignoring Jiangling's fierce, demanding interrogation, he raised a magical drumstick carved from human bone. Thump! An eerie, spellbinding rhythm echoed through the cold air. The three immortal monsters instantly went completely berserk. They swarmed forward like bloodthirsty, suicidal locusts. But they were completely outmatched by Jiangling's combat aura. She unleashed a storm of devastating kicks. Her martial art looked like a deadly dance. She sent the hideous beasts flying in every direction. In a single breath, the monster horde was completely annihilated. But the true nightmare was far from over. The mastermind struck his human bone drum once more. The slaughtered demons instantly resurrected, their crushed bodies violently twisted and rapidly regenerated. These abominations were not living creatures at all. They were cursed, immortal demonic puppets. Brute force alone would never break this infinite loop. The only path to total victory was to slaughter the puppet master himself. Standing fearlessly amidst the horrific demon horde, Jiangling radiated a freezing, absolute imperial authority. She offered the arrogant villain one final chance to surrender. Submit to the royal court now, and you might receive a merciful execution. But the stubborn boss just laughed maniacally. That previous clash was merely a pathetic warm-up. Bang! He smashed the drum with terrifying force. The three immortal beasts violently lunged forward, but their main target was not the powerful female warrior. They aimed straight for the helpless royal guards. Jiangling exploded with aura to intercept the massacre. Not so fast, the villain sneered. He violently ripped open his dark robes, revealing a horrifyingly skeletal chest. Something absolutely grotesque was squirming inside his ribcage. Your true opponent is right here, he cackled madly. Come out and play, my sweet demon princess. The ultimate weapon he had been hiding in his flesh was a terrifying, doll-like, lowly demon. Her tiny frame oozed an overwhelmingly suffocating dark energy. Watching from afar, Lu Yun realized the power scaling had shattered. The battlefield was completely unbalanced, but his mandatory scouting mission was technically complete. Why should a supreme being play the hero without pay? Plus, the Imperial Treasury was not funding his overtime. It was time to tactically retreat from this mess. But the exact moment he turned his back, a bloodthirsty ghoul materialized inches from his face. It unleashed a deafening, soul-shattering shriek. Its rotting, toxic stench violently assaulted his senses. There was zero time to dodge this lethal ambush. Back in the main battlefield, the monstrous demon princess fully awakened. Her dismembered, cursed limbs snapped together with sickening crunches. She locked onto her prey. Thump! The bone drum signaled the absolute kill command. The demon girl vanished in a blur of terrifying, godlike speed. She rocketed straight toward Jiangling's heart. The female officer remained completely unfazed. You are quite fast, Jiangling analyzed coldly. But against a 6th-tier martial grandmaster? Your pathetic attacks are practically standing still. A weakling like you cannot even scratch my armor. Swoosh! Jiangling effortlessly sidestepped the deadly phantom strike. But the true horror was just beginning. The monstrous doll held a terrifying hidden skill. In a fraction of a second, she completely vaporized, leaving behind only a toxic cloud of white mist. Jiangling's confident eyes widened in pure shock. Meanwhile, our overpowered protagonist was facing his own crisis. Lu Yun was brutally cornered by the frenzied ghoul. He had perfectly concealed his true legendary strength, but fighting barehanded against an evolved beast was annoying. The monster's explosive agility was completely off the charts. It closed the gap in a lethal instant. Is this really how I get forced to level up? He sighed. On the other side of the bloody courtyard, Jiangling was being absolutely mercilessly overwhelmed. The demon doll's relentless combo attacks left zero breathing room. Engaging this cursed abomination in close combat was a death sentence. This monstrous princess possessed a terrifying devour skill. She could absorb her enemy's precious luck and combat aura. After refining their stolen energy, she weaponized it against them. Jiangling had miraculously dodged the initial fatal blows, but the ultimate tide of battle had shifted. Her stolen aura was mutating into a catastrophic counterattack. Bam! A devastating strike finally shattered Jiangling's iron defense. The demon doll's agility had evolved to an unparalleled tier, gorging on the officer's stolen spiritual energy. The beast was unlocking advanced martial techniques. Slash! The demon's claws shredded straight through Jiangling's chest armor. Miraculously, her flesh remained untouched by the lethal strike, but seeing her opponent's stunning, perfectly sculpted figure, the twisted demon doll went absolutely completely berserk. It unleashed an overwhelming barrage of shadow daggers. A storm of absolute death rained down upon her. This time, escaping intact was physically impossible. Pierce, pierce, pierce. Countless toxic blades violently impaled the female warrior, Crimson blood exploded into the freezing night air. The instant the cursed weapons breached her skin, Jiang Ling felt her core life force being violently devoured. These shadow daggers were physical conduits for its devour skill. But back in the protagonist's chaotic combat zone, the narrative was taking a legendary, hype-filled turn. Our supposedly weak hero had finally stopped playing games. Out of thin air, he summoned a blinding, divine golden blade. Slash! A majestic arc of light instantly vaporized the three immortal puppets. Sadly, the helpless royal guards had already perished. Dragging his glorious, blazing divine sword, our main character calmly approached the bloody battlefield. Gasping for breath, Jiang Ling desperately pleaded for his help. "Pull these cursed shadow spikes out of my body!" Her paralyzed limbs were completely immobilized. Witnessing this impossible golden aura, the puppet master was stunned. How could this pathetic low-level trash possess such divine power? So the little rat was hiding his true level all along. The villain's eyes burned with homicidal fury. "Demon Princess! Finish him instantly! We have a grand massacre to complete." Receiving her master's absolute kill command, the terrifying Loli locked her sights on the golden swordsman. She rocketed through the air like a demonic meteor, launching a lethal, high-speed ambush aimed right at his spine. Believing our hero was caught completely off guard, Jiang Ling screamed out a desperate, heart-wrenching warning. "Watch your back!" But in reality, the overpowered protagonist was completely ignoring the monster. His eyes were glued to the paralyzed officer's stunning curves. "Wow, those hidden weapons are truly massive and round," he joked shamelessly. While he admired the view with zero survival instincts, the ultimate demonic predator closed in for the kill. The demon princess was mere inches from tearing his head off. She extended her cursed claws, ready to devour his heavenly luck. But suddenly, the puppet master's blood ran completely ice cold. "Stop! Do not touch his aura!" he screamed in absolute sheer terror. The villain's sensory skills had detected a horrifying truth. This boy possessed zero heavenly luck. His soul was an infinite, bottomless abyss of pure cosmic doom. How is a creature with such catastrophic karma even alive? Before the command could reach the demon doll, our hero's suppressed karmic disaster violently materialized. A colossal, apocalyptic spectral skull erupted from his shadow. An overwhelming aura of pure death chained the demon princess down. She was instantly completely paralyzed by the god-tier pressure. No matter how frantically the monster thrashed, escaping this supreme devourer was impossible. In a final act of utter clawing desperation, she plunged her cursed weapons directly into the phantom skull. But the overpowered doom energy instantly violently rebounded. Bam! A devastating shockwave blasted straight into the demon's face. Half of her indestructible cursed body instantly shattered into dust. The crippled beast was blasted across the destroyed courtyard. Because of their dark, binding soul contract, the catastrophic backlash surged straight into the puppet master. Blurg, the mastermind, violently vomited a fountain of black blood. The true, overwhelming power scaling of our legendary main character had finally awakened. In a flash, the masked demon vanished. Lu Yun and Jiang Ling froze in shock as it seemingly self-destructed. Little Ye Ni sobbed in the corner, too terrified to launch an attack. The masked fiend realized this young master was no ordinary prey. Retreat was its only option. Lu Yun was completely baffled by the monster's incredibly clumsy and sudden escape. Did his overwhelming aura terrify it, or was it intimidated by his sheer audacity? Seeing the enemy flee, an infuriated Jiang Ling barked an absolute order at Lu Yun. "Chase them down! Leave no survivors." But Lu Yun scoffed. Chase what? He needed to find his missing pet. He was off the clock, and working overtime for free wasn't his style. Seeing her arrogant, bossy attitude, he pitied anyone working under her. A wicked grin crossed his face. It was time to deliver heavenly justice and teach this haughty commander a brutal lesson. Seizing the moment while she was paralyzed, the opportunistic main character flipped her over his lap. He pulled up her robe, exposing her perfect curves. Jiang Ling gasped, completely scandalized and absolutely furious. She dared him to. Powerless yet arrogant. "Release me at once, or this official will execute you immediately." Hearing her threat, Lu Yun actually stopped. But a second later, he ruthlessly resumed his punishing spanking session. "I will enjoy a few more rounds. Otherwise, there will not be a chance in hell." Jiang Ling's agonizing screams echoed rhythmically into the dark night. This opportunistic bastard would not stop until the arrogant official passed out and woke up again. Her resilience is making my hands numb. Whatever, forget it. The heavenly wolf guards will collect her soon. Right now, I need to find my beast, Yani. He had searched for an entire hour, across the massive market, but his demonic pet was nowhere to be found. Did it find something to eat? Earlier, when that female official dragged him away, Lu Yun had unleashed his phantom spirit, Qimeng, to track Yani. Following their spiritual link, he finally found her. She had successfully captured the wandering beast. This creature acted possessed. It ignored my calls and bolted, so I had to forcefully seal it, the phantom complained. With my current depleted power, I can only manipulate minor objects. Otherwise, I would have dragged it back without troubling you, master. The ghost spirit bowed respectfully. Seeing Qimeng's devotion, Lu Yun smiled. Do not worry. I will help you evolve into a supreme entity. But internally, his devourer instinct plotted to consume her and break through to a higher cultivation realm. The ghost was equally cunning. Outwardly grateful, she secretly formulated a vicious betrayal. Based on my observations, my master's realm is pitifully weak. Once I absorb enough dark energy, I will drain his life force and escape this wretched fortress. While she plotted, a terrifying dark shadow blitzed past, snatching Yani right out of her ethereal hands. Kidnapped again? Lu Yun gripped his legendary blade, furiously chasing the bastard. What insane speed! He commanded his phantom spirit to flank the enemy. Pincer, attack! Together, they successfully cornered the mysterious shadow from above and below. Time to expose the culprit! As the dust settled, a familiar face emerged. Lu Yun was stunned. It was the old Taoist priest. Before he could interrogate, he realized Qimeng and Yani were paralyzed. A suffocating golden aura trapped his summons. That overwhelming spiritual pressure belonged to a peerless beauty. With flowing platinum hair, she suppressed his demonic familiars with effortless mastery. Outraged, Lu Yun roared, "Witch! Release them instantly!" The pinned old Taoist suddenly shouted, "Watch your mouth, boy! She is my martial aunt, a core disciple of the legendary demon-subduing sect. Stay out of our divine sect's business, or face utter destruction." Boom! Lu Yun ruthlessly smashed his fist into the old geezer's skull, silencing the annoying trash. The overpowered protagonist demanded the witch free his companions. Hearing his arrogant demand, she teleported, faster than his reincarnated reflexes could track. Her hand crushed his throat. Murderous intent flared in her eyes, as she raised her hand for a fatal strike. Driven by his previous life's muscle memory, Lu Yun instinctively lunged forward, fiercely grabbing her heavenly peaks. His counterattack was unimaginably fast. Frozen in shock, the supreme beauty violently shoved him away, her face burning crimson as she screamed, "Despicable pervert!" Lu Yun awkwardly rationalized. It was an accident, just the degenerate reflexes of this body's previous owner. Once again, her overwhelming aura gripped his neck. "Stop squirming. Your pathetic tricks will not save you." Her terrifying aura crushed him. He could not even formulate a thought of resistance. This overwhelming pressure, it was leagues beyond even Commander Bach. Luke Van forced his divine eye open. He pierced through her aura defenses, locking his absolute gaze onto her core. What he saw hidden within her dantian shocked him completely. A 5-petal lotus bloomed in his vision, a rank 5 powerhouse. The beauty smirked, realizing he had deduced her true realm. "Your visual arts," she whispered. "They are quite extraordinary. Kuyet Kim mentioned your unique talent. You see profound truths that even our Heavenly Eye sect misses." Releasing her deadly grip on his throat, she stepped back with a calculating gaze. She proposed a dangerous trade. "Use your absolute vision to track down my master. Do this." Her voice turned cold. "And I will spare these 2 hostages from certain death." Luke Van froze in sheer disbelief. Her ultimate goal? To assassinate her own master. The white-haired beauty offered no explanations, only cold instructions for the deadly hunt ahead. "This is the death node of the 3 talents spirit-gathering array," she explained. "But the Creator has heavily veiled the heavenly secrets. It is a masterful and dark concealment. I cannot calculate the core's exact location. I will forcefully activate the array's energy. You must use your absolute vision. Find the hidden flaws before it is too late." Activating his divine eye, Luke Van instantly spotted a glowing thread of energy. Seeing his success, she grabbed him, launching them violently into the sky along the Crimson Trail. Still weak in this life, he desperately clung to her to survive the breakneck flight. In a mere heartbeat, they descended upon a desolate, terrifyingly quiet mountain estate. The glowing red thread vanished into the dark courtyard. An illusion array. the beauty muttered. "It masks the heavenly secrets flawlessly. No wonder he remained undetected from up close." Drawing a golden talisman, she ignited it with pure spirit energy. Her hands blurred through ancient seals. A massive, blazing fireball erupted, roaring straight toward the cursed house. Boom! The defensive array instantly snuffed out the roaring flames. The door creaked open. It was the demonic Gu clan seductress, the exact monster who slaughtered the brothel patrons. Beside her stood a mutated bodyguard and a blazing, evolving monster beast. 𝑉𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏. The white-haired beauty sneered. "Have you truly degenerated into a cowardly rat? Colluding with southern border demons." A second white-haired man emerged from the shadows. His body was entirely consumed by dark talismans. It was the traitorous master, 𝑉𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏. "Ahuyan, you should not have come. One day, you will understand my sacrifices," he proclaimed. Giving her no chance to respond, he coldly ordered his monstrous abominations to attack. "Take them out quickly. I have urgent business." 𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏 unleashed another devastating blast of phantom fire, but the enemy master vanished into thin air. "Foolish girl, do not waste your attacks. Your true opponents are right here." That terrifying demonic beast had completely devoured the phantom fire. It licked its lips. Too small, but the flavor was exquisite. Lu Yun froze in absolute shock. That monstrous hound possessed the devour skill. These enemies were on a completely different level. Lu Yun desperately tried to retreat, but the seductive demoness was already perched in the branches above. "Why not stay and play, handsome little boy?" She licked her lips. "Your pure blood essence. It will taste absolutely divine." With a wicked smile, she summoned her horrifying demonic pet. It was a fully evolved parasite, the exact monstrous adult form of the larva from before. The beast locked its deadly gaze on our main character and lunged. Panic gripped his mortal heart, just as death approached. A blinding strike of heavenly lightning intercepted the monster. The old Taoist master had arrived just in the nick of time. This sudden interference made the demoness furiously glare at them. "You dare interrupt my feast, old fool!" The elder instantly channeled his golden aura and charged forward. "Stop hiding like a coward and fight," he roared. "If you will not help, I will crush her myself." But in a split second, the demoness blasted him away with dark lightning. Lu Yun activated his appraisal skill. Her cultivation realm was terrifying. She was a terrifying fifth-tier entity. Lu Yun rushed to the injured elder. "Quick! Use that divine sword from yesterday." The elder spat blood. "You still dare to mention that legendary artifact? I brought it from the inner sect, and you used it to recklessly chop enemies. The blade is completely shattered now. Did you think divine weapons grow on trees like cheap cabbages?" The situation was absolutely hopeless. Their combined strength was nothing against this demoness. The desperate Taoist master hatched a dangerous scheme. They had to stall for time until his martial uncle arrived. Floating above, the demoness scoffed at their pathetic whispering. Growing utterly bored of this weak prey, she summoned two massive, mutated parasite beasts and hurled the monstrous creatures right at them. But death was cheated once again. An unimaginably powerful aura blasted through the battlefield. Everyone froze in absolute terror. It was the giant demonic wolf, the one they thought was already dead. The demoness gritted her teeth in disbelief. "How is this inferno hound still moving? Your devour skill consumes flames. Ordinary fire should never be able to damage your beast core." Meanwhile, 𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏, having crushed the inferno hound, locked onto the elite guard covered in cursed talismans. But this enemy was no ordinary mob. His movement techniques were incredibly profound. He dodged every single lethal strike with ghostly agility. But mere evasion could not win this battle. The demoness watched the clash with growing dread. Her dark assassin was completely outmatched. Seeing her attempt to intervene, the elder fiercely charged. "Do not look away, vile demoness. Your true opponent is right here." But with horrifying speed, she delivered a devastating kick. The brutal impact sent him flying into the ruins. "I have zero interest in your pathetic, withered life force." The nightmare was only just beginning. If you loved this epic chapter, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. It gives us the ultimate power boost to bring you more legendary manhwa recaps.